The automobile industry may be becoming green and moving towards an all-electric future, but Formula One racing will not follow suit, at least not for decades. This is according to various Formula One officials behind the scenes. Although it's unfortunate, as it is a much more sustainable and environmentally friendly form of racing, hopefully in a decade or so this could be possible. Stick around to find out all the details regarding why it's impossible for electric cars in racing currently, along with other important recent F1 news. Stay tuned for all the inside details. First, electric racing in Formula One is simply not possible according to F1 officials. Here's why. The automobile industry may be becoming green and moving towards an all-electric future, but Formula One racing will not follow suit, not for another few decades, that's for sure. The outgoing head of the sport's governing body, the International Automobile Federation, believes this. It's simply not conceivable, Jean Todt says. A race distance in Formula One is approximately 200 miles or 305 kilometers. Electricity will not enable this without recharging, giving the performance of the autos, he declares. Maybe in 20 or 30 years, I'm not sure. However, at this time, it would be impossible, he continued. The 75-year-old Frenchman is a major player in motorsport around the world. Motorsport, according to Mr Todt, has a definite role to play as a testing ground for innovations that will ultimately benefit all road users. He cites Formula E, an electric racing vehicle championship that was conceived 10 years ago. That championship's about to enter its 8th year. There have been setbacks, including the recent withdrawal of teams from Audi and BMW, as well as Mercedes' intention to exit at the conclusion of next season. Regardless of these setbacks, to be going for 8 years is a huge achievement and a huge advancement in understanding electric cars in racing. Mr Todt stated, 8 years ago, drivers had to swap cars halfway through a 45-minute race due to range constraints. Currently, they can now complete the same race distance with just one car. The turbocharged hybrid engines had to be significantly more efficient than their predecessors, with only 100 kilograms of fuel allowed for the entire race compared to 150 kilograms the previous season. The hybrid systems used energy that would have been squandered otherwise to assist power the cars. On the surface, the new formula appeared to be quite the success in regards to sustainability, but the new engines were much quieter than the original real-deal F1 cars, which surprised many fans and left them quite upset. They were enraged by the loss of the roar and ferocity that had been a feature of Grand Prix racing for decades. The trend away from visceral loudness is only likely to accelerate as the world becomes more electrified. Mr Todt, on the other hand, does not view this as an issue. However, F1 is confronted with additional existential issues. As Mr Todt notes, Formula E cannot feasibly become all electric due to its powerful cars and extensive races. We can't know now for certain whether or not electric cars will make their way into the F1 world, but we hope they'll be able to create a more sustainable car for Formula One that does not hinder the driver's performance. In an ugly F1 title battle, Red Bull reveals a significant Mercedes mistake. In the aftermath of the Formula One championship, Red Bull CEO Christian Horner lashed out at the enormous shame, pointing to a critical Mercedes mistake that contributed to Lewis Hamilton's demise. The controversy surrounding Max Verstappen's controversial title victory in Abu Dhabi last weekend is far from finished, with the Mercedes recently saying Hamilton was robbed of the title. It happened as a result of Hamilton and Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff's decision to boycott the FIA year-ending gala on Friday in protest, a move that has left the latter in hot water. If you missed what went down last week at the F1 Championship, here's a little recap. For 2 hours, Lewis Hamilton was on course to win an incredible 8th title, but it all came down to one lap from the finish, and it was Max Verstappen who won both the race and the title. Verstappen deserved a win without a doubt. Lewis, on the other hand, did as well. Throughout the year, both guys drove brilliantly, never falling short of perfection. One man, however, had to win, while the other had to lose. Verstappen had a strong Saturday, while Hamilton got off to the greatest possible start on Sunday. Despite Red Bull disputing the fact that he cut turn 7, he was in the box seat after seizing the lead on the medium tire and retaining it on the first lap. As Hamilton's lead grew, the first lap became increasingly vital, and even some incredible defense from an off-strategy Sergio Perez, called a legend by Verstappen for his efforts, couldn't derail what appeared to be an easy path to the title. Verstappen pitted for fresh hard tires behind a virtual safety car after Antonio Giovinazzi stopped on the circuit, but the gap to Hamilton remained over 10 seconds. Then Nicholas Latifi collided with the barriers at turn 14, and everything changed. There was debris on the track after Latifi's incident, and the vehicle needed to be craned out of the way, so it appeared that a restart would be necessary. Mercedes believed they had won the title at the time because the regulations stipulate that after cars have passed the safety car must come in at the end of the following lap, i.e. at the end of the final lap, so there would be just one racing corner. Instead, race control decided to immediately deploy the safety car, ensuring that the Grand Prix could complete with an entire lap of racing. Due to his decision to pit before the restart and receive fresh tires before the restart, Verstappen started the last lap immediately behind Hamilton and on substantially fresher, faster, soft tires. This meant that Verstappen had a huge advantage over Hamilton and quickly took the lead and won the race. Obviously, this shocked everyone, but no one more so than Lewis Hamilton and his team and crew at Mercedes. Hamilton might be penalized by new FIA president Mohammed bin Sulayem for the move of boycotting the FIA Gala, adding to an already tumultuous conclusion to an already thrilling season on the track. Horner told The Telegraph that it was sad that no Mercedes team members appeared on the podium to congratulate Verstappen following the race on his new title victory. Wolff had previously stated that he would not be attending because of his loyalty to Lewis and his own personal integrity. Mercedes had first challenged Verstappen's title win, contesting the safety car's removal for the final lap following a late incident. It saw Hamilton's apparently insurmountable advantage disappear, ultimately turning the World Championship into a one-lap shootout. While Mercedes was enraged by the late drama, Horner questioned whether they should be held accountable for not choosing Hamilton to pit. We have yet to see how this entire situation pans out, but one thing we know for certain, Verstappen is the champion. Max Verstappen's top 3 wins of 2021. Max Verstappen had been declared the champion for the first time after 10 victories, 10 pole positions, and a record 18 podiums in 2021. So we thought it only right to look back on some of his greatest victories of 2021. Mexico City. First up on the list is Mexico City. You don't usually come back to win after being out-qualified by 2 Mercedes in qualifying. Lewis Hamilton pulled off a remarkable feat by winning the 2019 Mexican Grand Prix from outside the front row for the first time since Alain Prost from P13 in 1990. Verstappen's victory from P3 on the grid in Mexico City was a big accomplishment. At the start, he made the crucial move, sweeping past pole sitter Valtteri Bottas and teammate Lewis Hamilton, and then blazing a path on medium tires. Even after pitting for soft tires on lap 66, Bottas was unable to take the fastest lap away from the Red Bull driver, doing it only on the final lap as Mercedes pulled him back in. On a day where Verstappen was by far the best on track, the margin of victory was 16.555 seconds over Hamilton. Netherlands. Secondly, the Netherlands. For his first ever home race and the first Dutch Grand Prix since 1985, tens of thousands of orange-bedecked spectators placed all their hopes on Verstappen's shoulders, and their hero delivered spectacularly, gaining pole position and then going one better by leading all but 8 of the 72 laps after a scorching start. By the checkered flag, the champion in waiting had a lead of more than 20 seconds over Hamilton, demonstrating his dominance at Zandvoort. This was by far the best win of his season, and it produced a breathtaking spectacle, a sea of roaring spectators, which F1 had badly missed during the pandemic. Emilia-Romagna. Verstappen started third behind pole sitter Hamilton and leapfrogged him with a second-gear launch at Imola in a stunning rain-soaked event, but it was the wheel-to-wheel scuffles through the opening corners that set the tone for the remainder of the season. Verstappen was going to drive aggressively, forcing Hamilton to choose between giving way or risking a disaster. Verstappen triumphed by 22 seconds in hazardous conditions that saw Hamilton beach his vehicle in a high-speed incident between Valtteri Bottas and George Russell. This was the Dutchman's first triumph of 2021, and the way in which he did it was a foreshadowing of what was to come. And there you have it, everything you need to know about why the FIA boss has announced the electric cars will simply not be possible in Formula One anytime soon, at least not for a few more decades. Hey, thanks for watching!